You've been told your whole life that your home is your biggest asset, that it's the cornerstone of the American dream, and that it's probably the largest investment that you'll probably ever make. But what if that's not the whole truth? What if I told you that for most people, their home isn't their biggest asset, but their largest liability? And that $1 million home can make you look rich, but live poor. The wealthy have always understood this difference. And it's the biggest secret separating those who build fortunes from those who struggle paycheck to paycheck. They use a simple, powerful framework that completely changes how they view money. In this video, I'm going to show you that framework. We're going to dismantle the popular myth that your house is your biggest asset and reveal how it might secretly be draining your bank account. By the end, you'll get how to stop playing a losing game and start building real, lasting wealth. This idea that your house is actually a liability was made famous by Robert Kiyosaki in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. For decades, it's been a controversial and often misunderstood concept. Now, your accountant and your bank view your house as an asset. And technically, in their world, they're correct. In accounting, anything you own that has value is considered an asset. Since your house has a market value and can be sold, it goes straight into the asset column. But this is where a crucial mistake is made. Looking at your net worth on paper isn't the same as understanding your real-world financial health. The wealthy don't define assets the way accountants do. They use a much simpler metric: cash flow. And here it is, the single most important financial lesson you may ever learn. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That's it. It's that simple. Think of it this way. A true asset is like an apple tree. You plant it once, and with a little bit of work, it provides apples season after season. That's cash flow. A liability, on the other hand, is like a pet. You love it, it brings you comfort and joy, but you have to feed it and clean up after it and take it to the vet. It takes resources out of your pocket. When you start looking through your life through the lens of cash flow, a shocking truth appears. For the vast majority of people, their primary home doesn't put a single dollar in their pocket. Instead, it's a vicious money-eating machine that demands to be fed every single month. And this, by definition, is a liability. So how exactly does your home, the supposed great investment, take money out of your pocket? Let's break down the real cost, the ones that often get glossed over when you're super excited to sign on that dotted line. First, there's the mortgage. On a typical 30-year loan, for the first several years, the vast majority of your payment isn't building any equity. It's going straight to the bank as interest, while only a small portion goes to paying down the principal balance. You're mostly paying the bank for the privilege to own your house someday, far in the future. That interest doesn't generate a dime of income. Then you've got property taxes, which you'll have to pay for as long as you own the home. It's like a never-ending subscription fee of ownership, and these taxes only go up. Next up is homeowners insurance, and it's non-negotiable. Lenders require it to protect their financial interest. Let's be clear, while you own the property, the bank has a lien against it for as long as you have the mortgage, and they need their collateral protected. It's another bill that takes money out of your pocket without fail every single month. But the sneakiest cost are maintenance and repairs. One of the biggest shocks for new homeowners is realizing that they are responsible for everything. The roof leaks, the water heater goes out, the AC dies in the middle of a heat wave. That's all on you. Experts suggest you should budget anywhere from 1% to 3% of the home's value for maintenance and repairs every single year. For a $400,000 house, that could be up to $12,000 every year or $1,000 a month, just waiting for something to go wrong. This isn't an investment. It's an ongoing and unpredictable and often huge expense. We also have utilities, which are often higher in a house compared to a smaller apartment. And don't forget about potential HOA fees that can unexpectedly increase year after year. And finally, the biggest cost of all, opportunity cost. Every dollar that you have tied up in equity in your house is a dollar that isn't working for you. It's just sitting there, not earning any cash flow, when it could be invested in something that actually makes you money. The wealthy see that trapped equity not as a win, but as a missed chance to buying real cash flowing assets. When you add it all up, mortgage interest, taxes, insurance, repairs, and the lost opportunity costs, you start to see the full picture. Your home is a cash flowing machine. All right, but all that cash is flowing in the wrong direction, right out of your pocket. If this is starting to shift how you think about money, do me a favor and subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications. We're about to jump into the solution, the framework the wealthy actually use to build financial freedom. And you won't want to miss our future videos where we break these concepts down even more. So if your house isn't the asset you thought it was, what do the wealthy do instead? They follow one simple rule. They acquire assets that generate cash flow. They use their income to buy things that put more money back into their pocket. They build a financial fortress not on the illusion of paper net worth, but on the solid foundation of passive income. So, what are these real assets? They usually fall into a few key categories. First, income generating real estate. Notice the key difference? A house can absolutely be a real asset, but typically if you aren't the one living in it. When you own a property and a tenant pays you rent, and that rent covers your mortgage, taxes, insurance, and repairs, and there's still a little bit of money left over every month, that's an asset. That leftover cash is positive cash flow. Second, dividend stocks or businesses. These are companies that literally pay you a share of their profits just for being a part owner. Your money is out there making more money even while you sleep. A business you own that doesn't require you to operate day to day is another fantastic example of a true asset. Let's run a quick example of two people, both with a net worth of $1 million. Person A buys $1 million house. On paper, they look like a millionaire, but their monthly costs are massive. They have a huge mortgage and high property taxes and expensive upkeep. They might look rich, but they are cash poor, completely trapped in the rat race and forced to keep a high-paying job just to feed this massive liability. Person B takes a different path. They buy a more modest $500,000 house. Then take the other $500,000 and invest in cash flowing rental properties and dividend stocks. Their personal housing costs are far lower, but more importantly, their investments are putting money into their pocket every month. While person A is a slave to their house, person B is on the path to financial freedom. They have more flexibility, a lack of stress, and an income stream that doesn't rely on a 9 to 5. They have a smaller house, but they have a richer life because they focused on cash flow, not just paper net worth. Now, the point of this is not to say you should never buy a home. A home provides stability, community, and tons of emotional value. The goal here is to change your perspective and your strategy. The key is to control your housing cost so it doesn't destroy your ability to buy real assets. So what are some practical things you can actually do? One of the most powerful is called house hacking. This is where you cleverly change your house from a liability into an asset. You could buy a duplex or a triplex, live in one unit, and rent out the others. The rental income from your tenants can then cover most, if not all, of your expenses. You can essentially live for free while building equity in a property that pays for itself. You could even house hack a single family home by renting out spare bedrooms. The ultimate point is your home should be a place to live first and foremost. Treat it as a lifestyle expense, not as your main asset. Keep that expense as low as reasonably possible so you can free up your most powerful wealth building tool, your income. Then you can use that freed up cash to buy assets that work for you, not the other way around. The classic dream of home ownership becomes a trap when we confuse having a big, expensive house as having real freedom. Your home can be a wonderful place to live, to raise a family, to make memories, but for the sake of your financial future, you have to stop thinking of it as your greatest asset. True wealth isn't measured by the price tag of the house you live in. It's measured by the amount of cash flow you control. Remember the rule: an asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes it out. Once you truly understand that difference, you'll never look at money the same way again. You can finally stop financing a lifestyle that keeps you broke and start building a life of true financial freedom. If you want to learn more about specific strategies we talked about, like building passive income with dividends, click the video on your screen now for a deep dive. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe for more insights that challenge old school financial advice and empower you to take control of your future. Thanks for watching.